from the Redneck Garage. Well, I'm back from my trip from Florida, and we're going to be working on the lower control arms on the Jeep TJ project. I started on these before I left, and it has turned out to be quite a challenge and a thing that I have cussed many times over trying to get the bolt out of the bottom one of these control arms. Now, it feels like there's some kind of rubber or something surrounding the bolt, which means that maybe something's rusted through or something's collapsed. But I've had a hard time getting it out, so we're going to be working on that. Once I get it out, shouldn't be a big deal putting the new ones in. Trying to save the bolts because they're metric and they're weird and it's Jeep, so what do you expect? And so that's where I'm headed now. Okay, so you can see that we got both of the upper control arms on. Super cool. So those are ready to go. Now we're starting to work on the lower ones, and I've cleaned off the frame. Alright, so we got this all painted and we're ready to go back with the lower ones. So we got this bolt here at the top and this one down here at the bottom, and I took the wheel off just to make it a little bit easier. Okay, we got our lower control arm that we're going to be installing, and these you go 16.5 from center to center. So we're almost right there, man. 16.5. Nailed it! Alright, so I'm excited. We got the top one out, but the bottom one is stuck, and it feels like almost the rubber and rust have just stuck it in there, and I can't even get it to turn. When it turns, it's got like, it feels rubbery. You know, it's not like that solid turn, like it's stuck. It feels like it's stuck against rubber. So I can get it to turn a little bit, but when you put an impact on it, it just bounces really. So we're gonna let this sit for a while as I go get something to drink and use a lot of dirty words on this piece of crap. Because it's just stuck on that bottom bushing somehow, and I've been fighting with it for about 30 minutes. Ah! I really don't know what the deal is with this thing. I wanted to make sure that there was no tension on this arm, and there's not. It's just this bolt. There's something causing it to seize up, and it looks like it's just fused into the center section of the control arm here, and I'm gonna have to cut it off of there because it's actually bending the ear here on the frame trying to get it out of there. It won't come loose of the center metal here, so that sucks. Alright, something that should be freaking easy ended up being a big major pain in the butt. You can see here that the bolt had fused itself through rust to the sleeve, and when I tried to drive it out, it just really came right straight through the rubber. And then it actually, you can look here, it bent that out just a hair, and I can take a hammer and bend that back in, but that's how fused in it was that it wouldn't come out. So I ended up having to cut it with a cutting wheel and then a hacksaw to get it out of there. The top one was relatively easy, so now I gotta rustle up me some bolts to go in there. How exciting is that? Awesome. So how exciting is this? I had to buy a set of front lower control arm cam bolt kits, so when you do the alignment you can adjust that. I'm excited! But anyway, it's on the way, and it cost me about 50 bucks. So I'll replace both of them on the front, but man, that thing was a pain in my rear. Alright, so this has been the holdup on the whole stinking thing. You can see that this is on an eccentric, and it's for aligning the front end. So I had to order these kits, and these are about 25 bucks a piece. And we'll be installing these, and that's on the lower portion. So how great is that? Alright, I'm going to go ahead and clean this off really well right around in this area, and put a little bit of paint on it, because we're going to grease it up well before we install it, because that is really one of the pieces that moves when you start to install the when you start to do a wheel alignment. Alright, you can see the new eccentric bolt that's used for the alignment, and the alignment shop will adjust that once we get it down there. But the new arm's installed on the lower part, and I can tell you that was a pain in the butt. Alright, so I got the lower control arm on, and that's pretty cool. The other side probably won't be as difficult because I've already been through it on this side. Sometimes, you know, when you're doing something, the first time you do it, it's kind of hard. You got to go by trial and error, and then the second side is easier, even though you might have a rusted bolt, you know, just to go ahead and cut it off rather than screw around with it for a couple days. Anyway, so it looks great. Got the upper and lower control arms on this side. I'm going to put the wheel back on. We'll get that other side done, and I'm going to go down to Mark tomorrow on Friday and say, hey, what about my freaking motor? Hopefully, man, I got to get it back soon because this front end is ready to have the engine reinstalled. And I'd like to get started rebuilding that stupid thing so we can get this thing started and driving around in the driveway at least. That'd be awesome. Might need a gas tank put back in though. It is sweaty hot out here. I am going to have a beer now after I put the wheel back on. But that's one more challenge overcome. I'm super happy with the control arms from Rough Country. Thanks, Mitch, for supplying those for our project. I think they're going to do really, really great. I'm David from the Redneck Garage. Keep turning wrenches.